switch everything back to simple. The freaking coders and shit. All right, this is gonna be fun because it's a topic that we both know real well. I was just talking to my buddy Silverbeard. He'll be in chat, and he's like, "Bro, it's like really depression after you do a 20-year career in the oil fields. You got nothing to show for it." I'm like, that's why I'm trying to do shit now, career-wise, so that way when I do hang up my boots to enjoy life, I freaking have a safety blanket. That's what I'm getting ready. That's what I'm getting ready to go do again for the Air Force. Hi, buddy. Good old state of Alaska. Nope, purple. I haven't got my overlays all squared away on Kick. Crazy Nate. Native! Look at that porn stash. Oh my god. Oh my god. That dude, I can't.
Gotcha, bitch!
OBS all over again. Well, like I made two separate profiles.
Desi?
One for Kick, one for Twitch.
How is you?
I switched over to my original thing. So literally, like, I have to like remove all my Kick stuff, change it all completely on one profile, like delete everything and make all fresh things. And then on freaking Twitch, leave it alone because
get out. Oh my god,
I just got a resub and both the alerts for Kick and Twitch happened.
I'm on goal.
That sound.
Hey!
Stream loud.
I won't put it on
Yeah.
your look. I will not. I promise. Look, my hand.
Alright, hopefully. Oh, that's why, because the fucking. I swear to God. Alright, okay, so it's not system, it's shit. Alright, you should be good now.
Chat.
There you go. Bro, like, why? Like, I don't get why when you update, you change the fucking settings on everything. Like, if you don't stream on a schedule where you can check and tweak things, it's simple, but I'm definitely gonna have to edit this fucking video before I put it on fucking YouTube.
Just get rid of like the first 20 minutes.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I think. Can't even see your timer. It's not even 5 minutes yet, so yeah, you'll be fine.
Like, thinking everything's gonna be breezy.
Doesn't happen that way, bro.
Maybe I should have just been on Kick. Might just migrate this after that, and it'll just be on Kick. Jesus Christ. Keep it on Twitch for now, just because I have a bigger following over there or over here, whatever. I switched my profile to the OG Billy Badass profile on OBS, and everything starts going, oh, we're just gonna blow up your ears with every fucking sound you have attached to your fucking thing. Anywho, welcome in everyone. Dante, Buddy, Nate, Jackie, Techno, Native. Make sure I'm not missing anyone because I was not paying attention when all that shit was going on in my ears. Normally, like, because I did it last podcast, I turned off like all sounds, like all alerts. I would just see it in chat. Chicken nips.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys know I speak from the mind and the heart. Like, I don't hold back. You want
Hearts
to
and
fuck?
minds. Hearts and minds.
Yeah. But welcome in everyone. It is the I Got Your Six podcast hosted by yours truly. And we have the amazing MGT, Mr. Good Times, with me here tonight.
Hey,
Got
hey,
the
hey.
new fucking overlay made by the amazing Papa Doc. Fucking love it. Got nice open space to the right where all the shout outs and alerts and all that shit pops up. Keep it simple, stupid. So don't have all the flashy stuff that when we started doing this podcast thing. So it's just literally simple, focus on the people's beautiful faces and enjoy the topics. But today's topic is life after the military. What is it like transitioning from active duty to the civilian world? What changes? What to expect? What to do? So we're going to hit all angles, seek some questions from chat and from two guys that are veterans that have done this. You get to see all sides of it. So appreciate all the amazing fan bam that are here day in, day out when I hit that fucking famous live button. So welcome in and enjoy the show. So, Mr.
Yes, it is I.
What up, Red? I totally forgot I had sound alerts left on. I was like, and all of a sudden I just hear it fucking in my ear.
Them sound alerts though, bro. Yo, I can start playing elevator music for you if you need me to. Just say when.
All right. They'll still pop up, but it works again. Let's go. So, Mr. NGT, legend yourself, Wrath Dragon, welcome in. Tell us the beginning stages when you knew you were out processing, how to go through taps, if they did all that stuff for you guys. Tell us what it was like, what you were thinking, if you were nervous, if you stressed, or you were excited when you were out processing from the military.
Yeah, bro. So I mean, it's a combination of all those emotions. You're nervous because you've just spent the last however many years of your life dedicated to this one thing, but you're also excited because you're closing one chapter and you're opening the next one up. But for me, the biggest thing was that thought of the unknown, right? You get out and you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get out. How am I going to transition from this everyday day-to-day thing that I've done for the last 4, 6, 8, 20 years, and how am I going to transition and mirror that into the civilian world where now that I've been doing it for a few years, it's almost the same thing, you know? But yeah, I mean, the emotions that run through it when you first start is you're nervous, you're scared, you're excited, you got all of them bottled up at one time, and you're ready to close that chapter, and you're ready to open the next one up.
Yep, I know that feeling. When I knew I was getting out and they gave me my definite date of out processing, going through taps, going through the classes, what to expect, what to do, the channels to seek out, and if you found yourself in a hole mentally, physically to what routes to take to address that. At first I was bummed because I didn't want to get out. And at second, I started seeing the positives, the excitement. I was going to be a cop. So I was like going from digis to fucking being in a uniform with berries and cherries on my fucking vehicle, enforcing the law just like I did with better guns in the military. But it took a while. Like once I knew I wasn't lacing up my boots with the U.S. Navy over my heart and my name on the right side of my chest, it really sunk in that I was no longer active duty. Yes, you're always a veteran, but a lot of people take that stuff like a grain of salt and miss the camaraderie and everything that you've done, regardless if it's one enlistment, two enlistments, or a whole career. But it was definitely, it had its ups and downs, probably for the first year. And then once I got used to being free and growing facial hair and sleeping in when I can and not have to worry about being at fucking muster at 0530, standing in parade rest until the commander was done fucking saying his spiel, or doing PT, fucking battalion runs and shit like that. Still miss all that stuff because I have not been physically active like I was in the military, where they pretty much, you were forced to PT at least 3 times a day, or three times a week. But it's yeah.
I'll tell you the first. So I'll tell you right now. So when I got out, right, and I joined the civilian world, I had this office job. And I'd asked them like my first week there, I was like, "Hey, what time do we need to be at work? Like, when does my schedule start?" And one of the guys turned around, looked at me, and said, "Bro, you just show up whenever you fucking want to." He goes, "You just got to work 8 hours a day." And bro, it blew my mind. Like I was rolling into work at 7:30 and getting off at like 3:30, and like everybody's like rolling in at like 9 or 10, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like I told them if the door's unlocked at 6, I'd be there at 6. But yeah, I mean, it's just that transition period. That first year was wild, to say the least. You're in a limbo. You're almost in purgatory because you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and it's wow.
Crazy. Like you were saying, transition period of being out and not having to be at work at butt crack of dawn or before the sun even comes up. It really starts to depend on how you take it. It really changes how lazy you can get after being out of the military. If you have that, like, your body clock is just established morning person where you're going to get up at this time every single day, no matter what. Yeah, you might have some extra time to, I don't know, make breakfast, go for a run, do something before work. I don't know, read the fucking paper, and I don't know, eat your fucking bowl of Wheaties. But at the same time, like for me, I could tell you right now, like I love sleep, but I'm also a natural night owl, no matter if I was active duty or not. So instead of being that person that could be productive in the early hours of the morning and establishing myself and eating fucking breakfast like I should, instead of waiting until 9 or 10 o'clock or sometimes 11 to have my first meal, it could change a lot of things. And I know living by myself, that changes things. So if all I got to worry about myself, I'm just going to do whatever until freaking my routine starts. And that's a lot of people don't see. And when you become life after the military, it's only you that lives that lifestyle. Like, what are you doing every single day? What do you do in your free time? Like, are you still staying in touch with your buddies in the military? Which is, of course, because if you don't, you're fucking psychotic anyways. Or if you need seeking help, we definitely need to get that taken care of. But it's definitely an experience that you only live once, unless somehow go back to active duty or military contract where you can grow facial hair and do whatever the fuck you want because they can't touch you, and it takes an act of Congress to fucking boot your ass out. So
I've learned that people who get out, there's one of two type of people. Right? You got the guys that get out that have that eternal clock that's set, that can still operate in the hours they operate in and go throughout their day. That's like nothing happened. You got people that get out that are just, they become lazy. You know, they embrace this mentality that's, oh, I've gotten out, I don't have to listen to anybody more. I can just do what I want when I want. And you see this divide in it, and you have people that are like going to work every day, paying their bills, raising families, starting to do these things. Then you have these other people that are getting out, and I've seen it firsthand, and I've experienced it firsthand, that they get out and they think the world can't touch them because they've done all this time, and I've seen people slip up and go down the wrong rabbit holes, you know. So I mean, it's rough, and those are the people that I wish you could stop and talk to every day and be like, look, man, I know you. Thank you for your service. You're welcome for mine. Whatever you want to say, but you can't do what you want when you want, because there's still consequences to your actions, and the consequences outside of the military are worse than the consequences than when you're in the military.
And that's the thing too, is when you're in the military, depending on how you are and how you react and how you respond, you can say whatever the fuck you want if you choose to while you're in the uniform. But there's repercussions. There's DRB, there's captain's mass, there's all sorts of things that you can do. But then, like, for me, like, now that I'm not active duty anymore, a job is a job. But when it comes to certain things, especially with the job, is like, if you disrespect me or come at me wrong, whatever, like, I'm going to speak my mind, because at the end of the day, I can always find a job. I'm not going to be jobless the rest of my life. I promise you that. But I will speak my mind. And if I lose a job over it, so be it. But down the road, growing a family and stuff, like, family will always come first. Like, job is what brings in an income. But if a job starts being controlling of you and taking you away from reality and taking you away from being around your family, it's not the job for you. Yeah, sometimes you make sacrifices and you got to find a job to just pay the bills for now. But at the end of the day, there are repercussions for your actions. And if you want to have that mentality of, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, you're going to get a wake up call, because you couldn't do whatever the fuck you want in the military. And if you did, you just get your ass asmoed and freaking kicked out. So it blows my mind when people still have that mentality, but they need to mature the fuck up and look at themselves in the mirror and realize, like, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you have the evidence behind you to back you up, so be it. But if you're just doing it because you're just a freaking dingleberry, well, go be a dingleberry, someone else's ass cheeks, and move along.
Yeah, so, don't waste my oxygen. Go waste somebody else's. Yeah.
Welcome in, Peanut. Silver beard. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't see it. A lot of people take it hard. A lot of people are super excited because there's always positive things on the other side of the freaking fence. It might not always be greener, but you can always make better choices and make changes to where you're happy, not just with yourself, but happy in the direction you're going in life. And I tell you right now, in a heartbeat, if I was completely fucking in shape, whatever, I would possibly go back in, just because why the fuck not?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
it's all about what you make.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about seizing the opportunities you're given, and just not let the good outweigh the bad, and keep hold on to that, and hold on to those good things that happen, and then the rest of it takes care of itself. So I mean, Nate hit the nail on the head, man. You join the military, you get out, you get in, you stay in, you decide to get out. It's all about how you make it and what you do about it. So it's your call, it's your decision. It's your free will that decides how you respond to what happens.
And that's a key, very key thing too, because at the end of the day, it's just you. If you have families, and this goes for all branches, not one branch is very much different when it comes to the legalities of serving. Your jobs, of course, are different. The color of the uniforms are, of course, different, but it all says U.S. in front of whatever branch you're in. And that's who you represent, but you also represent our country, of course. But at the end of the day, you make the decisions, good or bad, what you want to do when you no longer have to show up in uniform at a certain time and be told what to do, because you have your liberties, you have your freedoms when you're not working, just like any other job in the world. But it's how you act and do all your actions is what makes the world go round. Because if there's repercussions if you choose the bad route, and then there's also positives and rewards when you choose the goods routes. Not everything's good, not everything's bad, but without freaking discipline, then of course you can have that mentality to do whatever the fuck you want. No one can touch you. So you're not working for Blackwater, even though they changed their name, or working for some FBI or special operations around the world where you are untouchable, and it takes an act of Congress to do things. But at the end of the day, think before you act, and know that you're not covered by the military anymore when you fuck up. You're in the civilian world.
Yeah, I know when I first got out, it's a small thing, right? So I got pulled over by some cops in my local hometown. Like I went back home and I was like,
me too.
I thought I was some big wig. Got pulled over by the cops doing like 95 and like a 65. You know?
Okay, I didn't do that.
Yeah, it was bad. I was one of those guys when I first got out, because I only did 7 years, and so I was still 25, 26 when I got out. So I mean, I would still say I'm dumb. I was dumb and stupid and young, you know. And so I got out. I was like, the world can't touch me. I've done all this, and I got pulled over doing 95 and a 65, and the cop pulled over, and he's like, I just got left the DMV a few days earlier and got the nice U.S. Army veteran tag on my car, you know. And I'm scrolling down this highway doing that speed, and he pulls me over, and he's like, "Hey!" And the first question he asked me was, "How long have you been out?" Like this dude knew I just got out of the Army, and was like, so I told him, I was like, "Yeah, man, I got out like 2 weeks ago." He was like, "Yeah, man, I can tell because you think you can do whatever you want." And he didn't say that verbatim, but it's basically what he told me. And that day it clicked in my head. I was like, you can go one of two ways when you do this. I was like, I can turn my life around and just not turn it around, but keep going the direction I'm going, or I can do a 180 and not be productive, or not be a law abiding or a successful person, you know? And so I mean, when that
Hazard 180 and just fucking
it's like hood slide, like do a hood slide across the roof, man. It'd been wild.
It is different when you're young. When you get out, it is super different compared like if you do 20 years and retire. You're right, Nate.
But I mean, and then what helped me with that is I turned around and it was like 6 months later I joined the National Guard, and I tell you, those fucking guards guys are a different breed in themselves. Any reservist period is just wild, because you have to do all this active duty time and all this training and all these drills and still hold a full-time job. I did it for like 4 years, and I was like, nah, guys, I'm all right. Let's just call it a day, you know? But
yeah,
it's crazy.
And that's the funny story of it. So I was going to be a cop when I got out, but it wasn't right away. And I got pulled over by a chick, CHP officer, on my way Friday night, driving my Subaru, going to Rookies. It's a bar where I was a bouncer at, and I was late. So I'm cruising down the 101 and got pulled over. And it turned out to be a good thing, because it don't matter who you are. If you have a sign of authority in front of me, I always treat you with the utmost respect. I don't lie. I don't beat around the bush. Like, I don't even care if I have to shit and I was trying to get to a bathroom. I'm going to tell you I have to shit. But I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm just on my way to Rookie. She's like, oh, I know you look familiar. I'm like, what the fuck? So just like, yeah, I'm on my way to Rookies. I'm late. I know I was a little speeding, but she didn't pull me over for speeding. She pulled me over because I was like crossing 3-lane traffic like a fucking NASCAR driver, but with my blinker. Like, she gave me the respect, the fact that I was using my blinker,
but I had my blinker on.
but like, you just see my car weaving, getting in front of people, and freaking using my blinker and shit. And she didn't give me a ticket, but she recruited my ass, and then I became a CHP officer and was a cop for 2 years and loved it at first, and then started seeing like true things behind the scenes and behind the curtains, like shit that happens that people don't talk about. It goes with any job, military, freaking police. There's always going to be people that are doing stuff different to make a living or be well off when regularly they don't make enough to do it. So I transitioned and got out of there while I could without freaking things getting bad, and then went back to school, used my GI Bill for the first time, and moved back home to Florida and got myself out of Cali because it's expensive. If you're military, you're set in California. If you're not military, you better have a fucking bougie ass job, because if you're not making over $20 an hour in California, you can't live on your own. What up, Crixus? Welcome in, buddy. But I went back to school, did HVAC, and then I worked for a resort, and I served in tables, bartended, and bounced on the nights and the weekends to make some fat behind dough. And then I worked at a resort as the maintenance supervisor and fixed all the ACs so all these people can come sit at this resort and live fucking bougie life and stay cool in the freaking humidity of good old South Gulf of Mexico. And after the military, because the military is the longest job I ever held, because when you start working, if you enjoy it, you stick around. If you start getting bored or restless, that's when you start looking at different opportunities. The job I'm with now, I'm about to hit my first year with them next month, and I have enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, but there's also things with the job that starting to change because it's a veteran-owned company that's trying to flourish and grow and be big. So I'm starting to see a different angle at things and seeing different opportunities arise. And that's the best thing about life. Like, if you have a family, if you have kids, significant other, like if you have that supporting system, you can do anything you want in the world as long as you have that supporting backing. Just like when you're in the military, you have that supporting backing for your squad leader, your freaking battalion, chain of command, and triad, and all that stuff. If you don't have it, it's kind of hard to push yourself to do things. And that's a lot of times people think getting out is a bad thing, or they're Debbie Downers about it. And there's reasons why you get out. There's big reasons. And not all of them are good, but at least they're not bad. Because if you get a dishonorable discharge, you might as well freaking, I don't know, go to a different country.
Hang up all that time you did, man.
Yep. Once you get a family, you got to set down roots. You don't get to swap jobs all the time, man. People depend. Exactly, Crixus. And
yeah, I mean, so it's a night and day between having a family and not having and being single, man. I mean, I was single 7 months ago, you know. Then I met Baby Cakes, and here I am with kids now, you know. So I mean, yeah, I've seen both sides of it, man. It's just sucks. I mean, I enjoy my job now? No, I don't. Would I love another job? Yes, but my job pays the bills. It keeps food on their tables and a roof over their heads. So I mean, yeah, I get it, man. We're rooted. I'm the breadwinner, so they depend on me.
That's a lot of people that don't see it. Like, yes, we want you to be mentally stable and content and everything, but parents in general, it doesn't matter mom or dad, single or married or together, people depend on you. If the job might suck, but if it pays the bills and puts food on the plate and you still have, you're building a savings or able to go do things for fun to get the kids out of the house or whatever, like you're making sacrifices to see other people smile that you care about. And a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people are just like, if they hate their job, they just quit or they can't stay at a job because of different angles of like stress and mental health, or just because they just hate their job. And it's been a long time since I hated a job, but I've never like quit, like straight up just not show up. I've always done it the right chain so that way I'm not burning a bridge. Because if something falls back and you put your 2 weeks in that job, you could still go back. Like I could go back to Lowe's right now and probably be an ASM all over again and making salary. Do I want to? No, because I like my weekends off. But if I had a job where I had to sacrifice a day, or if I got nothing going on because I'm in the middle of nowhere, yeah, I'll work weekends. You still have your time off to rest your head and rejuvenate yourself. So yeah, especially when you get kids involved, your mental health comes second. There's no choice. You got exactly. And it does suck because a lot, you see even like famous people and people that you know, it takes a toll on you, regardless when you suck it up or you hide it and always smiling behind your smiles when you hide it. So, and a lot of people can't take it so much and they do things that's unforgivable, and it hurts the people that cared about you even more. And that's the key thing. Like, if you want to see the smiles and see the happiness and the people you care about, that's what makes everything work. That's how it keeps the engine moving on the railroad tracks, is seeing those smiles, that those different makers with the kids, your spouse. Because without you, you would think of all the bad things. Where would they be? I try my best to help with his mental. I don't always help, but and that's a key thing. Being that supporting person for the person that's, and I'm not just saying just straight up breadwinner, but the one that's bringing the roof over the head, the lights, the water, all that stuff to keep you content and happy, and seeing those kids happy, because they don't, especially young kids, they don't know what's going on just yet until they get to a certain age. So at the same time, once they get older, they'll start to see things that you do. And we've said this in previous podcasts about mental health. Your kids don't miss a lot of things. They see how you act. They see when you come home from work. And a lot of times your kids are watching you walk up to the door before you walk inside. And 9 times out of 10, you're not always smiling. You're not always freaking happy of how work went or how things went for your day. But a lot of times when you open that door and those kids are sitting there waiting for you to see their dad, that changes everything. And I always tell people, because I've seen it with my parents, I've seen it with friends, I've seen it with anybody. When you open that door and you cross that threshold, whatever happened prior to you coming home, that shit is left at the threshold, left outside, left at work. And
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like you're those kids' superhero, favorite person, parent, father, mother. Like, they look up to you. And if you could sit there, and then after the kids go to bed and stuff, and you're sitting next to your spouse, you can talk about your day. You can relieve that pressure and all that shit that's on your shoulders or in your mind, and talk to your spouse and let them know, like, yeah, my day was bad. And then you start to feel better. And then you have a listener and someone that comes in and talks to you, and you feel better. Because I always go and I always tell people, like, no matter what happens in the day, I will wake up and open my eyes, regardless how that day goes. When I fall asleep and then I wake up the next day, that shit's behind me.
Tomorrow's a new day. Me and my babe, who is also in chat. I just wanted to say that because you said it last time. No, so yeah, we do that, right? So we come home, we have the kids, and one of us has a bad day, and it's just one of those things where I grew up in a divided house, right? My parents divorced when I was young, so I grew up with my dad, didn't have my mom in my life. And so I get it what these kids are going through with me and baby cakes. So I come in and I'm like Clark Kent, you know? Like I walk in and I strip off that everyday suit and these kids look up to me like I'm their best friend and I'm their superhero, I'm their role model. And me and baby cakes don't have any time between the time we get home until about 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night. We don't have time, you know? And so we'll lay down at night and just we'll lay down in bed and just finally be like, look, let me tell you what happened in my day, you know? And it's just one of those things that she's been a fucking rock, man. You know, like the foundation to my sanity and my because I mean I told her today we were talking about it or it was yesterday. I said, babe, you walked into my life with a ready-made family. Add stepdad and put in the microwave for 30 seconds. You know?
That is the most perfect analogy. And I'm like,
And
okay.
yeah. And so I told her, right. And so I told her, I was like, you have to understand my life has done a 360. Is my life just spun me around 10 times with a wiffle ball bat and then told me to start running and figure things out. And I was like, I just can't. And as we've learned that, don't get me wrong, we've had ups and downs, right? We've had some bad days, we have some good days, but I'm learning how to be a dad, and she's learning how to take care of somebody who doesn't do well with showing their emotions, I guess you could say. And so she like I said, she's my fucking rock, she's my foundation, and I don't know, if I had met somebody else with kids, I don't know if I'd be in the same boat I am right now. So
And I get that because I tell you right now, if I never had a step parent growing up from the time I was 11 years old and until present day, of course, I would look at a lot of things different. Um, I know being a stepdad is just as equal as being a father because you're still looked up to. No, you didn't conceive the child, but that kid's going to look up to you, especially if you treat their mom or dad the right way and you treat them with respect and show them the goods and the bads and the wrongs and the rights. And yeah, my first stepdad at first was great, but ended up being bad after 13 years. And I even called him dad. We were 11 years old. For 4 out of the 5 kids were old enough to be like, well, you're a father figure, so we're going to call you dad. And now my second stepdad, who my mom's married to, she, his name's Kevin. He'll always be Kevin. And
yeah,
but
I mean,
what I'm getting at is having step parents, it teaches you things and being that light at the end of the tunnel for those kids that have that missing piece, or if they're still co-parenting, they still look up to you as a guardian, as a parent, and that's the best key thing. Like I love kids to death, and regardless if they came from me or not, I'm still going to treat them like they're my kid. So yeah, I definitely get that with you and baby cakes. Hell, me and Babe, aka Tater Tot, my queen, whatever you guys want to call her. She's got 2 kids and they're adorable little princesses, and excited to see them grow and see how this journey goes. But at the same time, kids are what pushes you to be better, to live life after the military, to continue to wake up every morning and show that just because you're not wearing the uniform anymore doesn't make you a bad person or bring you down. And that's why there's great things about Discord and different channels of interaction with people who gone through experiences prior to you that can show you guidance and help you out and talk to you about anything that bothers you or if you got questions. That's one of the key things why I wanted to do this. I got your 6 so there's topics you can talk about that people are not, I wouldn't say just the word afraid, but not comfortable of talking about. So being that voice and bringing people together that want to talk about topics that are comfortable. Because I could tell you a lot of people that been part of these podcasts, either as guests or people that have come into chat. Some of them actually even write in chat like they have to step away because some of these topics are a little too much. And that's understandable. And then there's a lot that actually start to open up while in chat, and they're very grateful for it. So I definitely don't feel down because I don't wear the uniform anymore. I simply feel like I have never taken it off. Yes, I feel this. I feel the same way. Like, just because I don't wear the uniform every day, I still wear my dignity with honor, knowing that I did everything I was supposed to while I was in and enjoyed it, and super grateful I've met the friends that I've considered family, that some are still in, some aren't. So
Yo, let me be controversial for a second.
do it.
I go every day, right? Acting like I never had a uniform on. Because there's a certain point, for me, I feel like there was a certain point, I had a time frame of getting out where, yeah, I did my time, I did my things, I have experiences, I have stories, I have people I can talk to, like you, Nate, Baby Case, other vets I know, Rhino, you know, I can talk to them and have these war stories and these funny moments with, right? But I feel like there was a time when I got out and I knew I was out and I was never looking back, that it was time to start acting like I never did. Not act like I never did. I think it's the wrong way to say, but act more like a civilian than you would a vet, because it's good. Thank you for your service. You're welcome for mine. But there's people out there that really don't give a shit. And the sooner it's a hard pill to swallow, because the sooner you learn that, the easier it is to transition even more, because that's always going to be a part of you. But now you're in the civilian world and there's people that don't really care. I've met countless people in my day-to-day job. I'm a defense contractor for the Army, and there are people I've met that don't give two shits that I was in the Army, because there's people who are around every day that wear the uniform that are still doing it. So I mean, that's you can call it controversial. I would say it is to some people, but it's a different viewpoint about it.
And it happens. Like, I've met people that are like that, and then you got a lot of people that are controversial where they talk bad or try to bring up stuff that they've seen on the news. Like, of course, that's what the news is for, to attract viewers and get people talking and distracted for what's really going on. That's all the news is. Yes, breaking news that's actually like reality, yes, but when it's talking about things that are happening, it's just a distraction. And if you don't think it's a distraction, I guess that's the difference between being a veteran and not being a veteran. But at the same time, wear your honor with pride, keep your head up, stand straight, and keep moving forward, because the best thing about serving, regardless if your time in was good or bad, or you hated it, or your chain of command fucking shafted you, or took you out of things, that opportunities you could have seen the world, look at the positive things in life. Look at the things that changed you, what you are on a day-to-day basis. Because I tell you right now, I was going Army from the start, because the Air Force, I was too big to join the Air Force, and they're a bunch of freaking fancy pants where they were like, well, you need to be this weight to get in. And I'm like, man, I see freaking fat people in all branches. It don't matter. So I was going Army, but I got tired of filling out the same paper every time I walked inside the recruiter's office. So I freaking walked out the door, and 3 doors down, which is a good band, the Navy, an OS1 comes out of the office and was like, hey, let me talk to you for a second. And of course, I'm like, I didn't know shit about the Navy. This was 2012. Didn't know jack diddly shit about the Navy. I just knew there were ships, and they have a bigger fleet of freaking planes than any other branches. So, and Lord behold, they remembered who I was, kept tabs on me, watched my journey, dropped the weight, swore in, and was in from 2012 to 2017. And yeah, I was a 6-year push button on a ship, and then cross rated, and 2 of my years got taken out. Still was a E4, And I got buddies that I swore in at the same day and went to boot camp together that are Chiefs now, E6 or E7s. And I still hold a grudge, not really a grudge, but I still like kick myself in the ass knowing that I didn't go up and rank as fast as other people or stay in long enough to get a certain rank. Because once you make E6 in all branches, you can retire, do 20 years, and you get retirement. But if you go higher than
Yeah.
E6, it just makes life better.
Yeah, I mean, I still have those moments. I'll see my buddies that are still in, right? And I have those what ifs, right? I was on a fast track to make 7-7, and I was like, let's do this, let's rock and roll. Hit my 5 and stonewalled, plateaued, right? Whatever you want to call it. And I see all these guys now that are first sergeants or master sergeants in the army or E8s, whatever they are in the Navy. What are those, senior chiefs?
Yeah, E8's the senior
Yeah,
Chiefs, and then it's
yeah,
Master.
yeah. So I mean, that's something I'm gonna carry is what ifs. Like what if I stayed in? Where would I be now? What would I be doing? Would I be some first sergeant for some intel company of a bunch of fucking nerds, or would I be a warrant officer handling a brigade size 2 shop? You know. So I mean, don't when I say things controversial, don't get me wrong. I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud of where I went. Proud of what I've seen. I don't regret anything I've done. The army has given me a work ethic and a sense of responsibility and a sense of maturity that I don't think I could have gotten anywhere else. But there's a part, like I said, there's a part of me at this point in time that I hit it where I was like, you have to let go of that. You can't hold on to that. Carry the experiences with you that you can, and it's a lifelong transition, right? You're never going to fully transition out of the military to the civilian life, right?
No.
But it's one of those, for me, it's one of those things that the faster you the farther you transition away from the military into civilian world, if you don't plan on getting back in, the easier it is for you. I mean, Crix has said it. I mean, there's still work ethics and there's still maturity you bring with you every day, right? I mean, I work I work on things that if I don't complete my job, it could be a total mission failure, and it's it's one of those things that you have to get things done. But there's also I also learned a philosophy that I carry still to this day with people that just get out of the military that just start working. For the army, work has to get done that day. Work's gonna be there in the morning. That's one thing they won't tell you. And so I tell everybody on Friday, 3 o'clock on Friday rolls around. I'm getting up and I'm walking out, and somebody will ask me why am I not staying and finishing something? Because it's gonna be there at 7 o'clock Monday morning and it's not going anywhere.
Love you, Kimura. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like anyone can tell you when you first get out, it's not fucking horseshoes and rainbows. It really isn't, and it takes a toll. Like I wasn't always this cheery and happy and on the go and motivated all the time. Like I had my times where I was just hitting wall after wall after wall and taking steps back. And if it wasn't for working and having friends and being social, like if I was that one that kept to himself, it would have been a rougher path. And it really is a different time when you get out, and it's completely different, and it's what you make of it. Like Nate said, it's like it literally is what you make of it. And when you get out, sometimes it's either by your choice or like myself, I got medically separated, and it took a toll on me because I was like I was still healthy enough, but after back to back injuries, they didn't want me to be like 100% in reality handicapped, because you could be 100% disabled and still be mobile. You have to be careful when it comes to work, but that's a whole different topic. But if you become 100% disabled where you can't be mobile, then shit starts to get a little rough. But
Shut up. Oh, there it is. But I mean, yeah. So hold on. Air footsteps. Here he comes. It's I don't know, man. You hit on the head. I mean, it's just it's a different mentality for it's a different mentality for different people. Um, depending on how you got out, right? I mean, if you're med boarded, it feels like you're robbed of your service.
Yep.
Sometimes. For me, I just got out, man. I was just done with it. I'd done my time. I'd done what I wanted to do. I've seen what I wanted to see. Um, and I was just like, that's it, man. Let's stop. Let's transition out, and let's find a new part of life to go forward with. And so, I mean, I don't feel like I was robbed of anything. Sometimes I feel like I was robbed of my youth, but then again, I'm also thankful I was robbed of those years, because no telling what would happen if I would have stayed and like went to college, you know, or not went to college, or found a job out of high school, or not had that guidance or that discipline. So I mean, it's a catch-22, and I'm glad I chose the side I did.
So I'm just like Billy. After I got out of the army, I could not hold down a job longer than a year. I could not get used to different pace of civilian life. Contracting out my current job is perfect middle ground for me. Exactly, and that's the thing too. Is just you're so like in the military, unless you're just straight shore duty your whole time, which sometimes happens. My brother-in-law has only been deployed once, and he's getting ready to retire out of the Air Force in January next year. I deployed so many times, and then when I was still stateside, we still went and did freaking missions, either within CONUS. So it was still within the states, but we still did missions to freaking train for the next deployment. So I'm so used to like if people when I tell them how many times I moved since I got out of the military, or even when I was in, or even as I was a dependent, I'm so used to moving every 3 years. Like after 3 years, it's like I feel like I'm getting ready to jump out of the nest and go build a nest somewhere else. And I've only been back in Texas for a year so far, and I'm not saying I'm ready to jump ship just for myself, but down the road, there's definitely going to be a chance where I could be cementing myself in a different state for different reasons. Um, Especially when you're in a relationship and want to grow and grow old together. That's for one. Also, the flexibility to be able to go to different places and work. Like Crix is here, and he's been talking to me about the opportunity that's in Alaska, and I'm gonna do all the paperwork and give it a shot because I used to do military contracting as well before COVID fucking kinked it. And I think it's just because the job I had prior to COVID was a flexibility where they can do without, I guess. They can just go without guidance, but fuck it. And that's the thing, because anything that's closer to the military is more of a comfort zone for those that used to be in. So doing something that has that same like work ethic or schedule or travel or just locations makes you feel like you're still in, but you're just not clean cut shaved and being a freaking in the military.
Yeah. So I mean, for a lot of people,
hope so, too.
For a lot of people, the contracting or civilian or government civilians, you know. So you have so in the contracting world, right? In the defense world, outside of what we call green suiters or outside of military personnel, you have green cards and blue cards. Your green cards are your contractors, your blue cards are your government civilians.
Yep.
And those are the two closest gigs you can get to feel like you're still in if you choose that route, and the money's not half bad. I've done contracts overseas. I've done contracts stateside, and it's not bad. You know, I mean the pay is good. And so if anybody ever tells you what pay is like, if you're ever active duty, anybody listening to this now or in the future, if you're active duty and people say contractors get paid a lot, we do if you do the right job.
Yep.
Um,
And technically,
yeah.
a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't get paid shit in the military," and I'm like, but they don't look at all the angles of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't get paid a lot, right? I mean, you break down the hours you work, you break down your salaries as an E4, you're getting paid less than minimum wage.
Oh yeah.
However, I'm not paying for housing, I'm not paying rent, I'm not paying utilities, I'm not paying for medical issues. Everything's free except for what I want to pay for. So technically, the only thing you'd ever have to pay for is a vehicle if you decide to go out and buy one. But when I was active duty, I drove my beat up 2001 Mitsubishi Eclipse and rode it till the wheels fell off. You know,
smart. I've helped a lot of junior sailors and people to buying cars, not getting screwed over, and not going after the wants. Just get something you need so you get to point A to point B and do things you want. Don't go try and buy a brand new Z28 fucking Camaro because you want to fucking be fast and furious and think you're gonna get all the fucking pussy in the world. Because that shit don't work. And you're paying a $600 to an $800 car note because you're driving a King Ranch F350 with a fucking Power Stroke in it. Like, there's definitely repercussions of your actions, but think before you act. Because yeah, you might be in the barracks, you don't got bills, but that paycheck that comes every 1st and the 15th, and it's just under $1,000 because you're under an E4. Well, one of those paychecks goes to your fucking car note and car insurance, and that depends if you have good car insurance.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was in, right, when I was active duty, my parents paid for my phone bill. Or I was on my parents' phone plan, so I mean, if I had to pay them, it was like $60 a month at that point in time. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I only paid for that, and I paid my car insurance. That was it. I lived in the barracks. I ate DFAC food, or I ate mess hall food, and occasionally I'd go out for a beer, or I'd go eat at the local Charlie's sub shop, you know. But I wasn't one of these E4s or E3s that was going to like slap dollar bills on strippers' asses, you know.
Yeah. Chicago was great. You guys know Diamonds in Chicago. Go check it out. But I remember my first A school in Chicago where I was stationed, and this base was like the Air Force of the Navy. Like, you had your galley that had 6 different types of restaurants inside of it that you could eat. You had a McDonald's, a Taco Bell, a Pizza Hut, an Italian restaurant on the base. You had a movie theater. You had a football field, track, all types of freaking extracurricular activities you can do when you're not in training. And then you could leave the base, and if you're able to drink and you're allowed to drink and don't have to wear a uniform and have liberties, do so with your brain and not so much with your nonsense, because doing your actions definitely
still have consequences.
Sting in the military if you fuck up.
Yeah.
Just like any job, the military, your shit stays on your freaking background.
Yep.
But once you get out, unless it's something crazy, it doesn't show. So, yeah, there's been a lot of me. There's been some down times when I was in, but all the big ones, the fun ones, definitely overlap. I do have regrets in certain things, like not getting my tattoo done in Japan. That would have cost me 1/4 of the price what it would cost in the States. But it is what it is. I got my first tattoo at my first duty station and loved it at first, and now it's just a reminder of things, and I just have a floating scorpion on my arm. I fucking hate scorpions.
Randomly there.
It's me and my best friend, who's no longer with us, is we're both Scorpios. I drew the skulls, he drew the scorpion, and we're supposed to get together, but he didn't make it back after the first deployment. So I ended up still getting it, and I got a lot of repercussions from it because a lot of people's like, bro, that's just gonna remind you. And I'm like, remind me? Like, I want to be reminded. When you lose people, you don't want to forget about them. It's like the Robin Williams effect. You want to keep smiling, but you don't want to forget where you came from.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, life after the military is definitely
it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, you go up and you go down, but it's only you that decides what happens. Is yeah, you have the freedoms being a civilian, but still
You determine the
repercussions.
outcome.
Yep.
I mean, what Kirkus, what'd you say, brother? To expand upon what you said, we're talking to a young person thinking about joining the military. I would advise joining a technical job because if you want to get out, you'll have opportunities. The military will effectively trade. Yeah. So I'm gonna give you a backstory, Crixus. I was a 35 Fox and a 35 Lima in the Army. I was an intel nerd. So I did military intelligence, which, side note, is the biggest oxymoron you'll ever hear in your life, right? Because military and intelligence, but it set me up for success, right? I got out, got my contracting job, and I've been an analyst ever since, right? So I've been some type of analyst my entire adult life. It's given me the opportunity to carry a security clearance to the government. It's given me the opportunity to carry my experience into a job that would require most people to have a bachelor's degree, if not a master's, to even get their foot in the door. But you read a resume and you see a DD 214 or an NGB 22, depending on what you've done, and it there's a thing that we say in contracting, right? That if you have 5 years of experience, it's equivalent to a bachelor's degree. So now you have a bachelor's degree plus whatever experience is after that 5. So if I didn't have my degree right now, I would have a bachelor's degree and 6 years of experience. So, but now luckily I have a degree, so I have a bachelor's degree and 11 years of experience. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, but I agree, Crixus. If I had to sit down with some Joe Snuffy off the block, and he was like, I want to go join the Army, or I want to join the Navy, or I want to join the Marine Corps or the Air Force, and I want to go kick doors in, which is fine. Do that. Me and Billy both have a friend that did that and had a successful life, and he has a family now and kids, and he's taken care of, but he had to do some shit and go through some shit and experience some shit that I don't want to experience myself. So I chose a desk job, and I would tell any kid that if they score high enough on their ASVAB or they get a waiver signed to do it, go do something like commo or intel or some kind of trade, like some kind of engineering, like carpentry, and it'll transition very well if you don't want to make the military career. Now, if you want to join and be an 11 Bravo or a 13 Fox or a combat engineer or go 18 series, then do it. But I just want you to realize that after that first contract and you start growing up a little bit, and you start maturing, you realize that there's going to be a future after the military, whether it's after the first contract or if it's 20 years down the road, that you're going to need something, some way, whether it be a trade you learned in the Army through an MOS or you toughed out night school to earn a degree. The easiest way to transition out is to have the experience and to have a tool set and have a tool belt that can help you get your foot in the door somewhere, so you're not flipping burgers at McDonald's, right? Unless you want to do that. If you want to do that, then right on, man. I'll take mine with extra cheese. But that wasn't for me. So I mean, I've been defense contracting for years now, man. I've lost track, but I love it. I love being an analyst. I love doing intel nerd shit. I love playing the bad guy for the Army and telling what the bad guys. So much fun. I mean, and then I get to do other things that people can't do, and I get paid to do it. I get to do some stuff that people like. I would go to jail if I did that, and you would, but I get to do it every day, and I get paid to do it. And Uncle Sam says, "Thanks, man. We appreciate you being here." So it's great.
Yeah, same thing happened to me. I went in as an interior communication electrician, which is AKA a Navy keep. So on deployments or even in stateside, if you wanted bougie internet, a phone line, or cable TV, I was your go-to guy. You wanted to call home when we're in the middle of the fucking Pacific somewhere, and there's no fucking phone towers or satellites around to use a satellite phone. You come find me or my group, and we'll get you set up. I don't know how many times we would make sure, like, Super Bowl or playoffs or fucking girls wanted to watch freaking The Bachelor or they wanted to call home and talk to their family. I was that guy. But a lot of things happen on the ship where opportunities arise, and I got the chance to re-rate. I got to choose from like 13 other jobs, and I reclassed to be a CB, which is a Navy plumber slash HVAC guy. And those skills that I've learned go way farther than any cable guy skill, even though it's still electrician, where we still troubleshoot and mess with boards and stuff like that. But a trade goes a lot farther in the civilian world than most jobs. Yes, I'm not pinpointing the life-threatening jobs of the heroes that we talk about, firefighters, police, and stuff like that. Those are important too. But trades go so far because the skills that they have can sit there and mold you and be able to do things that keep the world spinning. Because without trades, we wouldn't have all the luxuries we have today. How do you think your house is built if it was built in a neighborhood, or if you bought land and someone built it for you? If you knew what you were doing, you did it yourself. So having those careers outside the military that you learned all those skills in the military are definitely big factor, real big factor.
Yeah, and I mean, it's. I'm trying to think what to say this, but there's only one way to do it. It's just to say it. People aren't lining up to pay you to kick doors in.
Nope.
They're just not, man. Don't get me wrong. Like Crazy Nate got to do some crazy shit, man. And I wish I got to experience some of it, but when you get out and you're like, I was 11 Bravo in the Army, man. I was an infantryman. There's no infantrymen in the civilian world. There's cops and firefighters, and
Well, you could contract and go to different countries. That's
I mean, yeah, you could, yeah,
different.
yeah. You could Blackwater, triple canopy. You can go do PSD in Afghanistan. Well, we're not in Afghanistan anymore, but you go to Iraq. You go to Kuwait. You could do these overseas contractors as they call them security guards, right? But I mean, we know what they are. I know what they are. I've experienced. I was an analyst overseas for a group like that. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're all armed guards." And why are you going outside the fucking wire, bro? Where are you going? Where are you going all the time? But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like Billy hit the nail on the head. If you want to do something, there's two things you can when you transition out. If you decide to not take a technical route, right? Learn a trade or get a degree. Besides that, man, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was I've had a lot of combat arms guys, right? I've had a lot of Cav scouts. I've had a lot of infantrymen. I've had a lot of mortarmen. I've had a lot of forward observers. Get out, and now two of them are my really close friends. We've all moved to the same city together. The two I can name off the top of my head are now cops, right? They love it. They love it, and I'm glad they love it because I don't want to do that. I never wanted to be a cop. I never wanted to be a firefighter. I never wanted to be a first responder. But it's just like I said. I chose a technical skill, or chose a technical job, or I chose an experience path that set me up for success when I got out.
Yep. I enjoy because you can always learn a trade, and you could be tradesman as well. You don't have to just stick to one trade. You can learn all types of trades and just be a hybrid, is what we call it in the military. Like even though I was a Bravo type in the CBs, because they have Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and only Delta is active during deployments. But an Alpha type is, of course, an Alpha, and they think they're king shit if you know the CB mentality. Alpha types are equipment operators and mechanics. So they're always top dog and get to drive all the big, cool toys. Bravo types are electricians and plumbers and HVAC techs. Then Charlie types are welders and builders, and EAs, which are the guys that draw up all the freaking schematics and shit. But you can always learn to operate. You can always learn to swing a hammer and do all the things in construction that build anything, where you take those skills outside and easily find a job working for Caterpillar, driving excavators, working for big ass construction companies that build skyscrapers, welding, where you can be a fucking highly paid welder to, as long as your fucking welds are good, because that's how you're gonna make the big bucks. Electrician, because that's like top 5 world's dangerous jobs, because you're controlling joules and watts and freaking amps and volts all around that could pretty much stop your heartbeat. Like, there's just so many skills just based out of what you did in the military. When you get out, you could do. If you retired and decide to just have like a enjoyable job and collect retirement money, that's good too, but not everyone makes it to retirement. Look at us. Like, yeah, we could have been megally retired. I could have, but I don't think I would be mentally stable to live life being a potato, because I can't work anymore. Sitting in a chair. Not everyone's going to see that as that angle. A lot of people might enjoy it. A lot of people like sitting at a desk, even if you're not in the Air Force, and go day in, day out. But I like sitting at this desk because it's enjoyable, even if I'm doing things that are work related or just kicking shit and drinking beers and having a good time. I like blowing shit up as a 13F, but I wouldn't want to be a cop. I have friends that are cops and they love it too. I'm just not exactly. I always dreamed to be a cop, and then I did it, and then now after doing it, I'm like, you know what? I did it. I can say I did it, but yeah, it's not not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I did the public service, man. I was an EMT, and it was fun until it wasn't, you know. And I caught that one call, and I was like, oh, man, I'm good. And I went through all this night schools to get certified and be an EMT, and I made it 6 months. And I was like, nah, dog, let's just scratch that off my resume like it never happened, and I'll swallow that $3,000, you know.
Yep.
But
that's the thing too, is like, as long as you do 4 years, and sometimes if you get medically discharged prior to 4 years, you still get your full GI Bill, regardless if it's post 9/11 or Montgomery. Use it. Learn a trade, or just have that paycheck that comes to you because you're going to school as long as you're passing. But take it and run with it. You can get a bachelor's degree with your GI Bill. They give you 4 years, and I've used it twice so far, and I still got 36 months of freaking schooling I can take. So, will I ever need it? Maybe. Will I use it? Who knows? But the plus thing is, you can always transfer it to your loved ones, and they can use it, make things cheaper, and unless they have scholarships, of course, and all that stuff. Fucking cold in here. But I'm much happier fixing radars, military radios, nav aids for the runway out here in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I saw your picture. I was definitely jealous but excited to see nature and hiking, all that stuff. Looking like Paul Bunyan out there. But yeah, there's always pros and cons to every action you do. Getting out, joining. Hell, I can go back in. I have, I think, either 5 or 7 years of eligibility where I can go back in, stick to the same rank, have the same rank, and continue my service. Yeah, your picture in Discord, the selfies. Yeah, from your hike earlier today. Yeah. But
and this man does so much cool shit, he doesn't even know what he's posting. Must be nice.
But yeah, like Kirk just said, I'm in the process of filling out paperwork and doing all the beginning steps to possibly doing similar things and starting a career up there where it'll be fun and stability is what I care about. And it's a good thing that I'm not cemented somewhere where I have the flexibility to do the things. Like, I'm not a single parent and I'm not condoning anything against single parents, but if you have the opportunity to do something when you have the flexibility, do it.
Fucking hold on for that fucking ride because it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Like, do it. Because you don't want to live with regret. Because I was talking to one of my military buddies today, and I was even talking to Silverbeard, and I even said, like, if I passed this up or didn't, like, pursue something that can make a whole lot of difference, like, I've been to Alaska, but not long enough to actually enjoy it. I've been lots of places, but I didn't get to enjoy it. But with a job security and plantation or foundation that can give you opportunities down the road, it could be long term. You can make a career out of it. It doesn't matter what the job is, but if an opportunity comes at you and you're like on edge, because I'll be honest with you, when me and Chris first talked about the other night, like I was more 50-50 than I was until last night after my day at work, because that literally just summed it up. Like, bro, I don't want to have a day like that again. So I'm doing a leap, and I'm actually excited because I know I'm gonna land on my feet. Dude, I just went for a hike in the woods. I had a day off, so I holstered my pistol, took off into the unknown woods for a few hours. No regrets. I had a blast. Hey, do you have a GPS?
Hey, yo, man, you taking a map with you? Like, what's going on? Did you shoot an azimuth? Just took. I don't. Okay. Oh well.
Did you just follow the sun and make sure you're going west?
Hey, that moss growing on tree shit's a lie, bro.
Yep. You ain't gonna have no Pocahontas. Ain't no talking trees out there. And if there is, I definitely ate something I shouldn't eat.
Not the mushrooms you should have had for breakfast.
I had a squirrel telling me that those berries were good. But at the same time, that squirrel was sleeping when I walked away. I had a map and a compass, just like the nav in the Army, bro. Fair enough.
Hey, bro, I'll let you know right now. That is a underrated skill set they give you in the Army. Is land nav. If you have a compass and a map and you know how to pace yourself, like pacing, like every 100 steps is 100 meters, or every 500 steps is 100 meters, or however long it is, right? If you can learn those three and you do that, you can navigate any way you want to. As long as you know where north, south, east, and west are, you shoot your azimuth, you know how far you've been and how far you got to go, bro. I could get you from here to Alaska on our feet.
20 hours
I don't want
a
to.
day. Bro, my sleep's fucked. Well, I took a nap today. Like, I got my hair cut, came home, lay down on my freaking comfy ass bed, and I dozed off. Like, I was supposed to meet up with Moxie in Discord and work on some audio shit prior to stream. Then I went to Silverbeard's and he had some food for me that I can't wait to eat after this podcast because this shit looks so good. And then luckily MGT wasn't ready at 7:30 and I was still outside, so like we have before, we postponed it till like 8 o'clock. But we're still on track and everything, so everything's good. But yeah. Things happen. But yeah, that nap was great. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up my sleep schedule. I was up till 4 a.m. last night, and the longest I've been up in quite some time. I haven't stayed up that late since me and Babe started dating, so I had to navigate around the draws though because the snow has just melted off and I didn't want to get caught in that. Yeah, I saw you still had snow up there. Don't want to be caught in that.
I can't go to Alaska because it's too cold.
It gets.
Like,
of course, it gets
I
cold.
get it. I get there's warm parts of the year, right? But me and old Harley out here, Can't live in Alaska. I don't know if I'd be able to. Me as a person, I wouldn't be able to survive in the cold on a motorcycle, no matter how bundled up I got. So I think we're gonna stay exactly where we're at. And
Yeah,
just
you enjoy that humidity. I don't
we're
miss
gonna
it.
enjoy the humidity and our 90 degree days in the middle of May or the beginning of June with no AC.
Because the funny thing is, I go on call at the beginning of July, and I go to Houston in the middle of July. If everything goes well, I could be out of Texas by July 1st, and I would technically be shafting my work because I won't be on call and I won't be going to Houston. So to me, I'll be like okay with it because I don't have to deal with the humidity, but at the same time, it's like, oh, that sucks, but good luck. I'm glad they don't follow me on Twitch.
I don't mind the heat, right? So I spent 2 deployments to Kuwait and Iraq, right, where it was hot year round. Like the low in Kuwait was like 50 degrees, and that was like in December at midnight, you know. But the one thing I do not, and I'm never gonna miss, and this is the one thing me and Baby Cakes butt heads on, is the sand. Fucking hate sand now. I used to love the beach. I used to love going, letting the waves hit me in the face, you
have
know.
the best beaches in all the states. Like you have
But,
the white
man,
sand that's powdered. Yeah, it sticks to your skin because you're glistening like a Christmas ham because it's humid as fuck out. But it's so soft. It's way better than the East Coast fucking brown sand. And it's definitely better than whatever the shit's in California.
that's not sand. It's dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just like I said, it's just the sand. And so me and Baby Cakes argue all the time. Like if she ever wants to go to the beach, we'll go. I won't complain. I won't fuss. I won't bitch about it. But man, in my head, it's not gonna be fun. But then again, I enjoy the mountains. I could go on vacation to like the Rockies, right, or up the Appalachian Trail, or. But she hates the mountains. She hates the cold. So like we're night and day. So I mean, our vacations are gonna be crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, good. Good. I fucking love this chair. So glad it came last night. It's amazing. I just now notice it rocks.
Yeah, kick back and do Nips's favorite pose, you know? There it is.
Yeah, I miss the mountains. So I've moved so much, being a military dependent to all the way till I'm back to being a civilian and a veteran. And I love the cold. I used to wear a hoodie and shorts in negative 17 degree weather, and that's with wind chill, and walk to school and be completely okay. Legs wouldn't be cold, head be covered. Like long as you're 3 points of, technically 4 points if you're a man, are covered, your head, your hands, your feet, and your balls, you're warm. Now, if you're one of those people that likes to shave your legs and it's cold as fuck, I'm sorry, but yeah, I used to love it. But I've been in the heat probably in the last 10 years, all 10 years. Yeah, I went out ice fishing 2 years ago. I was actually, no, I can't say the heat because I was in Cincinnati for a year and that shit was fucking cold. And, but I can acclimate. If I have to, of course I'm going to. It is what it is. I do like colder weather because you can always put layers on, but I fucking hate the wind chill. You could be as cold as fuck. It could be negative degrees outside. But if it's windy and there's a wind chill and that shit's hitting you in the face, don't try to
Sucks.
Yeah, don't try to spit. Don't try to freaking wipe your nose because that shit's just gonna crystallize and you're gonna look like fucking Iceman and Batman's not gonna beat your ass. So
You're stuck with it.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the coldest I've ever been. Shit you not, right? I was in the middle of Kuwait in my first deployment. It was end of November, beginning of December, roughly. The high that day was, I think 95, right? And the low that night was 47, 48. And I was on night shift and I was walking across the middle of the fucking desert at night in 47-degree temperature. And it was the most miserable I've ever been.
I did that shit Afghan. It was over 100 degrees during the day, and finally get my rucksack and go to sleep. And I'm like waking up to get fucking naked to get inside that specialized sleeping bag to warm my ass up because it's fucking like almost freezing in the desert.
It's wild.
Like, how the fuck do you go from triple digits down to what it felt like single digits, like a 6 to an 8 hour change?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like if it was 40 or 50 degrees here, we'd be like, oh, this is great weather. But over there, when you drop 50 degrees in 6 hours, you feel it. And it's just.
And that's how you get sick.
That's one of the things I don't miss.
That's how, like, when I was in Texas, it would be like hot one day, and then it would drop down to be like in the 30s and 40s the next. And I got sick because my body was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Good freaking time. But yeah. So, life after the military, there's ups and downs, there's goods, there's bads. It's just, at the end of the day, it's what you make of. It's how you respond to adversity and your actions and how you can take things, because you might not like taking authority, or you get used, or you like taking authority once you're in. Because a lot of people say, oh, I can't join the military because I can't have someone yelling me in the face. I'm like, if you're doing what you're fucking supposed to be doing, they're not yelling at you in your face. It's when you fuck up is when they grill you. But at the same time, today's military, not excluding the Marines, it's gotten a lot softer when it comes to going through boot camp and timeout cards and freaking breaks, whatever. It's ridiculous. It could be changing. I could be exaggerating, but this is just talking to buddies that are freaking recruiters and drill instructors. But if you can't take authority and you get out and you think you're just top shit, no one can touch me because I'm a badass because I served in the U.S. military, you're going to get a reality check. And it's how you respond and how you change, because you got to live the rest of your life. You can't just be thinking the military is going to take care of you, because you're not going to have to do it anymore. So how you do your life, actions speak louder than words, and repercussions sting a lot worse when you're a civilian. So always remember, it's not always greener on the other side, but you can make it greener by throwing some grass seed on it.
And take care of your mental health when you separate. You have to. When I transitioned out, man, is me and the long sleep had a meeting one time, and it was no bueno, just because I felt empty. I felt like nothing was there. I felt like I had no purpose in life. And just remember that there are things out there to help you with your mental health. There are sources out there to help you with it. There are the VA can't preach it enough, right? VA, Veterans Assistance, Veterans Administration, whatever they call themselves now.
Veteran Affairs.
Go use it. Take advantage of it. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes paperwork gets lost. Sometimes it takes forever for things to happen. But me and my VA prescribed shrink have a nice little talk at least once a month. And it is the best thing I could do. And then find things to I don't want to say fill the hole, right? Because you're never gonna fill that void. Find what I call healthy coping mechanisms. For old MGT, I got out of the army, felt like I needed the camaraderie and the brotherhood, and I missed it. I went and bought a motorcycle and joined a motorcycle club. Still do it to this day. And that is one of the biggest and best things that I've ever done, because I have people that I can still call on and brothers I can still have. But you just have to find those niches, find those copings, and hold on for that ride, because it's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. For me, I call upon my spirit animal, which are the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz. And you got to hold on to whatever you got and just enjoy that down, because when you go back up, it's going to be really fucking awesome.
Yep. I tell you right now, if it wasn't for Discord, literally Discord, not just stream, and connecting with people with similar attributes of being veteran, being part of the regiment, even though I'm not active at all in the Discord, but I still talk to a lot of the guys through social media, and just playing games or just being in Discord has helped so much, because different people have different attributes, like they lived with people or had families and stuff like that. But I'm literally isolated, live alone. I have Silverbeer next to me, and I got other Discord friends, military friends that live in Texas, but it's kind of hard to go do things when the only source of transportation I have at the moment is my work truck. And I'm not filling that bitch up to $80 to $90 just to go drive somewhere and have to be watched what I'm doing because I can't drink because there's a camera and a GPS in the truck. So, but if it wasn't for Discord and joining groups and doing things with brothers of mine and close friends that I consider family, it would be a rough transition. So, afraid I'm going to have to leave you here, Billy. It was good talking to you guys. I podcast. We'll talk soon. All right, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you throwing those biddies again. But yeah, we'll talk. All the paperwork will be finished this weekend. I'll probably have that done tonight, and then we'll go from there. And pretty excited on this opportunity that you brought to me, and I'm like 100% for it. 110%. So enjoy up there, and I'll definitely see you in Discord sometime. But yeah, it's another W freaking podcast. So glad MGT brought this topic up, because literally all these podcasts have been guests that chose topics, and I host it. And this is the fourth one so far. And with that being said, with this opportunity coming to Rise, we're going to keep doing these podcasts until I get up there. And if I have some way of somehow be able to stream when I have the downtime, or just wait until I come home the first time, we'll do it. But we're going to keep doing it until this happens. But another W stream. Appreciate everyone that's been out here and hanging with us and interacting and knowing what it's like to transition from being active duty to civilian, but you're always a veteran. And keep your head up, and you have the channels and the people to reach out to if you ever need to talk or go over things and ask questions, because that's what we're here for. It's not just my Discord. There's all types of Discords and groups that you can reach out to, but you guys know how to get a hold of me, get a hold of MGT, anyone that's in our Discords, and we'll be there. We always got your six no matter what. So you guys have been great. Thank you guys so much for coming in and supporting the podcast and interact with me and Mr. Good Times. Because without that, we would just be talking to ourselves and recording and posting on YouTube. I'm not saying
two dudes talking to each other.
Yeah, two dudes, one stream. So, MGT, who we rating?
Oh dang, brother. Let me see if I can find somebody.
I always let the guests choose where we go.
How long have you been live?
Hour and a half.
Yeah, well, not you. No, this guy I'm looking at. It says
Appreciate you,
2.5
Bushy.
hours.
Enjoy family time.
2.5 hours.
I'm
Let
gonna
me see what he's doing.
Now that I'm still on camera, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm about to eat. He gave me a whole fucking spread. If y'all could see that. Chicken.
Sounds like he's gonna be on for a while.
Ribs. I believe that's pork chops.
Can I just
Mashed potatoes, mac and cheese.
Damn, that looks good.
Rolls.
There you go, Billy. I put it in your chat.
Oh, I can't fucking devour that shit. So glad I didn't have a big lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid dude. I met this guy playing Sea of Thieves, man. He's a pretty cool guy. If anybody doesn't play Sea of Thieves, you need to.
I've thought about it because I've got quite a bit of friends that play it. I've watched a lot of people. But, all right, guys, copy and paste those emotes. Let me go ahead and make sure I copy because I always never do. And let's go show Savvy Sinks some love. Appreciate you guys. We'll still be in Discord after this, hanging out. And I will see you guys next time. Much love, and always remember, we got your 6. Love you, Nate.
Love you, mean it.
See you in a second. Hell, let me follow. I'm not maxed out. There's no fucking way. Oh, I double clicked it. Whoops. You go.
Daisy, and some Honchona. Yo,
Alright,
Nemi,
I'm ready.
welcome in, guys. What were you doing? Oh, talk shows and
Ready to check
podcasts.
some
What kind
rooftops?
of podcast or talk show are you doing? I like those.
How we doing this, Nick? Are we just gonna like feel out the person?
Fucking
that
love
we're
Savvy,
running
bro.
into? I mean, not literally, like figuratively.
It's up to you.
And like, if they
It's up to you.
sound cool,
Yeah.
then we take them on, and if not, we just kill them.
Yeah, I'm very distrusting for the most part, but if I recognize them or they
Same.
seem
Oh, he's playing
cool,
DayZ,
yeah, we can,
nice.
like, run with them, but if not, yeah, I think
Okay.
we murder
What's
them.
that?
He's playing DayZ.
Okay.
Oh, bro, that game's so
Well, if
fuck.
you're
I
talking
couldn't
to
do
anybody
it.
and you feel like you can't trust them, you just, you know.
Sounds good.
Why?
Same with you. Same with you.
I don't know, man. It's just so slow paced.
I'll have no
Oh.
objections to you murdering them, man.
Like I'm one of those guys that if I play a zombie game, I want to play like Dead for Daylight, where I
I've been watching
shoot everything. You know, DayZ, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but
he's like a MIT professor. Really has some pretty interesting people on his shows. Shit, careful.
Well, also DayZ, like you're not just fighting AI zombies, you're also other people that are in there that freaking can
Yeah.
fuck you up too.
yeah.
Nature dude. I can't remember his name. But he's a really cool guy, really smart guy.
Well, at least I know
Neat.
I gotta fix my Twitch shit
Forrest?
before
I think his name's Forrest.
Twitch shit on OBS before I freaking go live on.
Yeah.
Because literally, I've only been going live on Twitch if it's
What's
freaking.
our safe word, Nick? Like,
The
if we want to murder
podcast.
somebody but don't want them to know
Yeah.
we're gonna murder them.
But yeah, bro. I mean, if you ever want to play
What's
Sea of Thieves, you just let me
what's
know.
the trigger word for you?
I
I'll
will
have to
hop on
download.
that in a heartbeat.
Let's go.
I'll have to
Pineapple.
learn. That's what I love about Apex too, because Homegrown showed me the ropes. I love playing new games, and if I enjoy it, then I'll stick with it. But I like playing with friends. Like
What the
I
heck?
can,
Yeah.
I know what games to play for RPGs and play solo.
Yeah. Let's see it. See it. These all right now. When I first started playing, I was